A new bill has been submitted that is going to address gun violence, except this time it's focusing on the mental health side. But if you dig down deep, there's some bad stuff in there too. What is going on? Stick by and check this out. Hey everybody, welcome back to Guns and Gadgets, your source for Second Amendment news. Still trying to get back into the swing of things. Wanted to let you know what's going on in Congress. On Wednesday, Senator John Cornyn out of Texas submitted what he calls the Response Act. It's a long bill title. It's the Restoring, Enhancing, Strengthening, and Promoting Our Nation's Safety Efforts Act. Blech. But it's focusing on the mental health side that so many Democrats don't want to hear, but there's some bad stuff snuck in here as well. So there are some key areas that it looks to go after. I got a list of them. I'm going to try to stay accurate, so I'm going to be referring to my list. One of the main things it wants to go after is unlicensed firearm dealers who are breaking federal law by manufacturing and selling firearms, not being registered as a federal dealer, and thus skirting the background check requirement through the NICS system. That is what happened with the Odessa shooter. They want to address that because if there are people who are involved in the manufacture, purchase, or sale of firearms, that they do it the way the feds have set up the rules and regulations. And you know, it's going to come down to they want taxes too, or fees and payments, of course, obviously. But that is also going to address issues where people who lie or falsify statements on the 4473 when they're purchasing firearms as well. That happens a lot, all right? There are I think there was 40,000 instances of where it happened the last year that the statistics were dropped, which was 18, I believe, maybe even 17. But of those 40,000, there was like a couple hundred people that were prosecuted. And if people are lying on that form, it's a felony. And this looks to address that a little more than has been in the past. Again, laws are already in the books, just enforce them. Now, one of the good things that it has in this bill is it wants to increase the availability and the quality of mental health here in the United States. It wants to tap into Medicare to help increase funding at the state level for state hospitals in the mental health area. Also wants to increase the amount of workers and address a whole bunch of funding issues with mental health at the state level. Then it deals with school safety and how parents should not have to be afraid to send their children to school. As a parent of 4, I understand that. However, there's something in here that I don't agree with. So it's going to look to allow schools to be able to monitor students' social media accounts to better identify those students whose behavior indicates a threat of violence. And it wants to offer, instead of like reporting those kids and getting them arrested if they are making legitimate threats, offer them services to have their issues dealt with. So if it's a mental health issue, get them some mental health help and so forth. Now, on the face of that, it sounds decent. Okay, get these kids some help. However, in the process of doing that, it's violating people's rights because it's going to utilize social media and things people say to trigger basically student level red flags. You don't really think of it that way, but think about it. Kid makes let's say makes a Call of Duty reference. Call of Duty kids, if you have kids who play Call of Duty, you know what I'm talking about. Let's just say it's something as simple as that. Now, the school could get hyperactive on that and say that, look, this is a threat of violence. They're going to red flag the kid, get him some mental health issue help if possible. If not, the authorities will take over and charge the kid with terroristic threat or whatever. But what happens there? All right, the kid gets red flagged. What happens with the parents? We've seen in a couple instances already where kids have ended up getting their parents red flagged because of some bullshit they said. And as a parent, they had their rights stripped because of a comment their child made. Yeah, that's not how the Constitution works. That's not what due process is. And that's not what we should start trending toward in this country. So it sounds good here. Let's get these kids some safety and we'll be able to screen some stuff better. But it violates rights doing it. Another thing in this bill that's pretty shady if you drill down into it is it wants to speed up executions under state law for those states that allow it by limiting appeals in federal court for those convicted of mass murder. Limiting appeals, violating due process. No, we shouldn't be violating due process for anything because that is the start of tyranny. If you don't have due process and the government can do whatever they want, that is the definition of tyranny. And we fought to stop that once, and we will fight to stop that again. We will not accept our rights being stripped for feelings. Sorry. The next area has to do with like Minority Report stuff. Okay, they want to clarify legal protections for internet service providers who opt to share information with police. Now, it says that this information would be about mass violence, hate crimes, or domestic terror, but we all know what will happen if the government gets to monitor your internet service providing company more than it already does already. If you don't think you're being monitored, you're cuckoo. I mean, it's already come out that Facebook, on all the photos people post about their guns, they're scanning the serial numbers and making them, logged in a database. So, dangerous territory, all right? They're looking to take what you say and share it with police so that police can build a case against you. And in a lot of cases, they're going to use all these red flag bills and red flag laws that have been passed and come violate your rights because of a First Amendment. I'm going to violate that to take your Second Amendment right, to violate your Fourth Amendment right, or search and seizure, and the Fifth Amendment, all kinds of. There's so many amendments in there. I've done many videos about it. If you want to know more about the red flag and how bad it is, I'll put up here in the cards a playlist I have about red flag videos. Watch that. If you're not familiar with it, that's going to tell you everything you need to know, and you're going to become very educated quickly on how bad the red flag really is. So that is the Response Act in a nutshell. Yeah, on the face, sounds good. It's going after mental health. For the first time, a bill has been really submitted saying that, mental health is the problem about these shootings, and it's not the actual individual piece of steel or wood, but just the way it's going about it. Still has some tricky backdoor tyrannical stuff in there that we all need to make sure doesn't happen in our country. If you could pass it along, I know I always ask it, but really, the only way this information gets spread is by you, the viewer, hitting that thumbs up button. Makes a huge difference. And sharing it with your friends, whether it's here on YouTube, on Facebook, on Reddit, wherever you have stuff that you watch. If you could share these videos there, it goes a long way. Because the shadow ban here on this channel is real and it is deep. So please help me in that effort by sharing these videos. And consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. This is where you're going to get this Second Amendment news right here on Guns and Gadgets. Until we see each other again, I am Jared. Thank you all for your support and your caring words over the last 2 weeks. It means so much to my family. And for those who have had a direct hand in helping, my hat is off to you. My family owes you, and we will never be able to repay you. So thank you so much. Be safe, stay vigilant, and carry your weapon. Take care, everybody.